Hi, I'm Christine, and this is my old and blind best friend, Chase the dog. We traveled the US living out of my SUV, searching for adventure, food, and fun. If you'd like to be our travel buddy, then like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Join our Patreon or YouTube membership community for exclusive perks and content. Hi guys, I think it's time I share with you a little bit more about myself. I'm usually a pretty private person, so I've been hesitant to give away personal details to the entire internet. However, I am trying to build a like-minded community on this channel, and I feel like in order to do that, I need to give you guys my history and why I do what I do. So here goes. Even as a child, I was really independent and liked being in control of my own world. I would pitch a tent in the front yard and live out of it so I could be on my own. I've always been motivated to learn and grow. I've consistently set goals for myself since I was a little kid. Thankfully, I had a great childhood with wonderful parents that gave me a good foundation for life. I started out adulthood very career focused. I tried college, but it didn't feel right, so that lasted less than 2 semesters. I was drawn to sales because it seemed exciting and had a high income potential. I started selling security systems, and I moved my way up in that industry for over a decade. I really enjoyed my work, but I also struggled with the constant rejection and pressure to meet quotas that comes with sales. Also, sitting at a desk in an office for most of the week didn't feel right either. Hey, coworker, if you could get that urgent thing to that important guy by the expedited deadline, that would be great. Thanks. Despite the stress, I performed well, and on the outside, I was succeeding. I was blessed to be part of an amazing family. I started dating a really nice guy when I was 20, and we stayed together for 16 years. He has a daughter and a son, who I had the pleasure of seeing grow up into wonderful young adults. I claim them as my own, and I refer to them as my kids. Together, we had a 4-bedroom house on 4 acres and a rental property. I had 2 cars, one of which was a sporty red convertible. I was able to buy most of the things that I wanted. I had a high income, but I also had high expenses. My finances were paycheck to paycheck, which goes against my nature because I really like to save and plan for the future. It was only after having all of the things that I thought would make me happy that I realized that's not where my happiness lay. I know it sounds cliche, but I have to really experience something myself to fully understand it. I had felt the pull towards minimalism since watching the movie Into the Wild in 2009, but I suppressed it to pursue material success because I thought that was the only way to be secure and happy. Something started to shift when I turned 30 though. I strongly desired to create a life that had peace and felt right to me. I was being drawn towards downsizing and shedding the things that didn't feel like me anymore. I sold my convertible and I started making plans to spend less and travel more. I quit my sales job to become self-employed in 2016. Since then, I've had a few businesses, the largest of which was a corner store that I owned with my partner. During my time as a business owner, I've experienced great success and massive failure. I've learned a lot about myself through those experiences. I know now that I don't like having employees, overhead, or the stress of a brick and mortar business. I've found that I do best on my own with a small operation. After my partner and I amicably split ways in 2021, I moved into my van in my parents' backyard. That way I could get used to living in a vehicle while still in a safe environment. The fall of 2021 is when I started traveling in my van and started my YouTube channel. My intention was to travel full-time, but after a few months I really missed my family, so I came home for a while. I'm still working towards what balance of family time and travel feels right. I stay with my family in Michigan often to spend time with them and get a break from the road. The older I get, the more I fully understand that it's the people you love in your life that make it worth living. Everything else is secondary. It took 1.5 years to do, but I've finally sold my houses, my extra cars, and all of my unnecessary possessions. I could afford to live in a house, but I choose to live in my car because being free of all those material things has allowed me to live a life of freedom and joy. I have very minimal bills. I can go where I want, when I want. I have the freedom to work on what inspires me at a pace that feels right to me. I've been working most of my life and haven't traveled that much, and I want to see more of the world, so traveling in a car is the easiest and cheapest way to do that. So much of the first 2 decades of my adult life has been figuring out what doesn't work, but I feel like I've gained a ton of wisdom from the many mistakes I've made over the years. Because of that process, I've learned who I really am and how to create a life that feels right to me. If the hard times were necessary to get here, then I wouldn't trade them. I've learned that if something consistently doesn't feel right for a long time and you've done your best to make it feel better with no luck, then it's probably time to change your situation, even if that means going against the norm of what most people do. I'm not knocking the traditional path. A normal 9-to-5 and white picket fence is the right path for a lot of people, and it was for me in the past. It's just not anymore. It took many years of trial and error, but I never gave up on creating a life that felt right to me. I still have a lot of hard times, but I mostly live from a place of peace, and that feels really nice. So my hope in sharing my stories on YouTube is to be an example that you can create a life that feels good to you, even if the path to get there is long and winding. I'm not saying selling everything and moving into a car is right for everyone. It's definitely not. I just think that we should all be doing whatever it is that our heart is calling us to explore. And that is what I hope my channel encourages you to do. The end.